It was with President Clark.
Okay.
And so it was 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Changed my life.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, what I'm doing is I'm trying to find the it factor for hireability, employability, and promotability in students. Because there are certain things that I want to make sure we're teaching at BYU Idaho to make them the best. I mean, ultimately disciples of Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
but the best employees that they can be. Just higher integrity and stuff like that. And so, I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but if there's tangible stuff I can take back to BYU Idaho and say, all right, we need to tweak some classes to make sure we get it. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
So I've got kind of 4 areas: the finding stage, the interview stage, the initial stage of like, all right, trial period, and then the all right, it's time to promote stage. So I'll just kind of ask you questions.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. So when you think about the best people your company has hired, how were they first discovered or noticed?
How were they first discovered?
And I guess, because I'm not sure what you do for work, think about the best employees or coworkers and stuff.
Yeah.
And if you don't have an answer, then...
Yeah, how are the best ones found? That's a good question. I think I see a lot of like school connections, right? So and maybe even conferences that they go to, like, oh, hey, this company goes to this one conference. Okay. And I went to BYU Idaho, then I worked at HP, and then I went and got my MBA. And how I landed my job at HP, I remember I went on to a career fair at BYU, and they called me, and I thought it was a joke. I thought it was like, wait, computer HP, yeah, we have an opening and like to interview you. And so my opportunity came from, and again, I went to my trajectory has been like HP, then my MBA, and then I went to Procter and Gamble, then I did Microsoft. Now I'm with Qualcomm, and so I've kind of gone with bigger companies in my career, and what I've seen a lot is either conferences, and or like certain leadership sponsoring some sort of something at their alma mater or university.
To kind of get the network going.
Yeah.
These are the people.
And so what I've seen a lot is, maybe they'll sponsor like projects, like, hey, we'll hire these students to do a research project or whatever. Some are calling it experimental learning. Or sort of like mentorship programs where, they just do like, I recently started a mentorship program with the University of Wisconsin. It was like, they call it like a mentorship ring or circle, where it's like like anywhere 3 to 5 students per one mentor. Okay. And then you have like sessions. Yeah. And then you have mentors that sign up, and you have students that sign up. So they made it some sort of like, you have to apply to be part of this as a student to be part of this program. Yeah. And I think through that, some of these mentees, the ones that stand out, some people are like, hey, let's stay connected.
Interesting. So I am curious about the ones that stand out. As you're working with these mentees or applications, is there something that makes somebody rise to the top versus just another person?
I think proactivity.
Okay.
Being proactive, just reaching out. I get a lot of students or people that will be like, hey, I'd love to connect with you and learn about what you do. And I'll talk to them and they're great. And then I never hear back from them. And like a year later, they'll ping me on LinkedIn and say, hey, there's this opening. Can you? And like the thing is, when a student reaches out to me, I know what they want. They want a referral, and I'm happy to do it. And I can go through the system and put a referral, but like I will probably go the extra mile and find out who the hiring manager is and ping him directly if the student has built like a relationship. And I think that for me, the if factor is like those follow-ups. Like, I think, and I tell students all the time, like, somebody once said like having like your own board of directors for yourself, right? It's like, I think when you meet with people, some will be great. You're like, wow, I really like this guy. Or some will be like, wow, this guy's a jerk. Like, I learned some stuff, but like, I can live my life without talking to that person ever again, right? But the ones that you do hit it off with, like, I try to do like a recurring, like, hey, let me reach out to Spencer in 3 months. Like, hey, can I connect with you back in 3 months? Because I'm really interested in teaching at BYU Idaho, and I want to know like what I could do next, right? And then we just connect every 3 months. I'll give you an update what I'm doing, and with those people, this is one specifically, a guy named Kevin, works for Google. I met him at one time. I want to work at Google, so I was like, I'm just gonna stay connected with Kevin. So I reach out to him every 3 to 4 months. Just say, hey, it's been a minute, love to catch up, or hey, I have this, I'm thinking of leaving Microsoft, and I did this when I was leaving Microsoft. You've left companies. I'd love to hear your thoughts on like, I'm about to make this transition, or I'm thinking about it. And since you've done it, I'd love to talk to you about it, right? And I usually come prepared with like 2 or 3 questions to not waste their time. And then I feel like when I do reach out to Kevin about a job, he's gonna remember me, because it wasn't like I met him once in Madison, Wisconsin. It's been like, yeah, I met him once there, but we've talked.
It doesn't feel like you're using him. It feels like you're actually getting advice from him and stuff.
Yeah, and to me, like, I've never asked him to be my mentor, but I look to him as a mentor. It's like, hey, I don't. It's like I don't have to ask them to be my mentor. I just say, hey, I have a question. Can I just chat with you? And I've had another person give me some compliment of like, he said at the end of one of our meetings, I had these like, when I worked at Microsoft, I had a guy who I asked him to be my mentor, and we talk every 2 months or once a quarter. It's just half an hour, and he'd always say, hey, I really like your conversations because you come prepared with 3 or 4 questions. And I know those questions are meaty enough that they're gonna take like half an hour. And then it's like, when the time stops, like, hey, Spencer, I know we're at time, thank you so much. Like, I respect their time, just as I expect them to respect mine, and then move on. But I think that follow-up is one that I don't see in people do. But the ones that do it, they're remembered.
Do you do a lot of hiring or at your job right now?
In my role today, I don't.
Okay.
But I did, I have in the past,
So maybe we'll think of
just the
when
situation.
you did.
Yeah.
Because I'm really interested, are there any qualities or skills that make someone stand out during the initial hiring process beyond just the resume and formal qualifications?
Yeah, I mean, I base about 80% of my decisions on what questions they ask me.
Oh, so the questions they ask.
Yeah, because so there's this format, right? Like the STAR format. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have heard of it.
Yeah, so like all MBAs are teaching all their students how to, like, when they say, tell me about a time, this is how you answer, right? Situation, task, action, and then results. Which, by the way, another person, just before I forget, that you should talk to, his name is David Gailey. Have you talked to him?
I haven't.
And I can connect you with him. He's a BYU graduate, went to Wisconsin. He's the reason I went to Wisconsin. Kyle Nell, do you know Kyle Nell? He spoke at one of the Power to Become conferences.
Okay, yeah.
And he gave this incredible, and I've liked those Power to Become conferences. As an alumni, I like go back and listen to some of those. He gave one, and I was like, and he was like doing stuff with Lowe's and space, like fascinating stuff. I was like, Kyle, I pinged him, I said, I don't get it. BYU Idaho, and then Wisconsin.
Right.
Like, I thought it'd be like Harvard or Stanford, like the things you're doing. And he convinced me to, like, no, he's the reason why I started looking at Wisconsin. He's like, talk to Gailey. But Gailey's one who's done a lot of hiring, a lot of interview preps, and I think he'd be a great person for you, and I'll connect you with him.
That'd be awesome.
But like, they come prepared. So you answer those questions, tell me about a time, and a lot of times, like, they rehearse them well enough. So that stands out. Like, are they prepared to answer those questions, right? Do they have their story straight? Can they articulate it well? And so that's like, you know, if you, and a lot of times if you get to an interview stage, you already kind of
Right.
you already did a lot of the stuff that got you there, right? So you're already ahead of 1,000 people who will apply for the job. But I think the questions they ask me shows me like, did they do their homework? Did they
Homework about the company.
come about the company, or like what are they really interested about? And it goes both ways. I had a girl one time ask me, she was applying for an internship position, and she started asking me about full-time employee benefits. And I was kind of like, and I think she was a BYU MBA. And I was like, hey, let's just stop here for a second. And I gave her some feedback on the spot. I was like, I'm gonna ask you this question again, but let me give you some feedback on what you just asked me. I said, I feel like we haven't even gone on the date yet, and you're asking to marry me, right? Like it's like I wouldn't ask that question. And so she's like, okay. I was like, okay, so think about what you want. Like, what is it that you really care about? Like, what do you want to know about this internship, right? And I think people can. I think for me, they make it or break it. Like, they may have answered all the questions great, but then you get to what questions do you have, and they're like,
I don't have any.
meh.
Yeah.
Or if they don't have any, it's like, okay, well, you failed. But like if they ask questions about, it's a simple LinkedIn, like, hey, I noticed on your LinkedIn that you're a soccer coach. Like, I love coaching. I love doing stuff outside. Like, how has Microsoft or wherever you work allowed you to like not only perform at your work, but like give you opportunities to coach or like work-life balance, whatever, right? And it doesn't take a lot to do that. It's just like one quick LinkedIn. Hey, I saw that you went from Microsoft to this company, to the company you're at now. Microsoft has a great reputation. Why? I'm just really curious. Like, why did you leave? Or what made you come here?
Right.
Or another question. There's like really simple questions. Or like, hey, I noticed you've been at BYU Idaho for like 14 years. Like, what kept you here? Like, why haven't you gone and teach somewhere else? Or why haven't you taken your communication skills? And you can be like, oh, no, I love to teach, but I get to consult on the side. So, whatever. Or like, I love the community of Rexburg. Yeah. But like, there are questions that I think could be, because I also think the questions humanize the interview process. Yeah. Like, oh, this guy's a human. Yeah. And like girls, I tell them all the time, like, if I were a girl, I'd be like, hey, I don't have kids, but like, I like to have a family one day. I like to understand, like, is this company, how is that seen in this company? And those are questions that, and I don't know if an interview makes sense, but like, that's where you have like mentors or somebody to ask those dumb questions to.
Right. Because the interview, but versus a mentor, I love that. Are there any signs or gaps that hesitate you from hiring somebody, even when they appear qualified on paper?
Oh yeah, 100%. Personal skills. I think Elder Clark now, but he went. One of my last years there was that communication summit, and he was there, and he said something. He said, if I get a BYU Idaho applicant who hasn't gotten involved, I don't hire them.
That's interesting.
Like, and I was like, wow, that's like, and I was like, sure, I've done everything, so I'm good. But I think it gives you those, like, I've mentored students who are like a 4.0 student who hasn't done any involvement, and then I mentor students who are like a 3.8 or a 3.6 because they do care. I don't care for the GPA, but they're super involved. It's like, I'll take the 3.6. Sure, I'll take a 3.0, super involved over a 4.0. Yeah. The GPA only matters, I think, for like consulting jobs. Those are the ones that. Yeah. I've never been in any situation where I care for the GPA. It's like, whatever.
That's funny, because I agree, the involvement, because they're able to juggle things.
Because then when you do ask the question, tell me about a time when this happened.
Yeah. They have something.
I have IBC to talk to you about. I have the time where I ran for student body president and won, and what we did, and I had times where I was the director of operations for the sports department. Yeah. I have time where I put together the summit with Sister Bergstrom and things went wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I have things to talk about rather than like, oh, in theory, this is what I would do.
Versus I woke up on time and went to class.
And I studied. And so I think, and it gives you the opportunity to just deal with people. Deal with people that like, don't show up. Like, I was just in Bishop Break the other day, and I was like, guys, so and so I'm on paternity leave right now. My wife just had a baby like two and a half weeks ago. One of my counselors had a baby 2 months ago, and my other counselor is about to have their first like next week, or in like the next 2 weeks, right? So all three of us are like this. This is my fourth. My other counselor's their third, and the other one's their first, right? So I was like, guys, and I keep saying this over the text, and Bishop is like, over communicate. Like, I don't care if you don't come to mutual, but I'm gonna be pissed if you don't show up to mutual, right? Like, just tell me you can't come, and then we expect it, right? So, and I think just over communicating, and those are things that, like, you know, hopefully someone tells me, tell me about a time where you just, whatever, there was lack of communication. It was like, all right, this is what happened, this is what we did, and this is how we fixed it, right? And this is the result. Like, we had to move our certain meetings, we had to move them from morning on Sundays to Wednesday nights, right? Whatever. But yeah, those are, just dealing with people is so important. Yeah. And I think in this age of AI and like, you can go vibe coding and do all these things. Yeah. You still have to deal with people.
Yeah. All the time.
The other thing that, and I don't know if this will be part of anything that you asked, but when I think about what I wish I'd done differently, and I don't know if there's even a class that's for this or not, but project management. Okay. That's a class that if it was available, I would have taken it twice probably. Because like whether you're in comms, in marketing, so my career, so I started at HP in supply chain, then moved into sales enablement. Okay. They were looking for somebody to develop trainings and surveys, and I was like, oh, I did that student by president. So I got my second job at HP was because of my extracurricular activities that I did. Yeah. Then I went into marketing. I've done sales. Now I'm in sales. I've done some HR, and I've done some product management in the engineering side. And so I've touched a lot of different verticals or whatever you call them. And at any point, whether I'm in sales or in product management or marketing, I have something that starts and something that ends, right? Whether it's the sales, whether it's a project, and being able to like manage that on paper and showing up like, hey, here's a tracker, this is where we're at. And then you lead the conversation like, Spencer, where are we at with the flyer? Oh, it's in your inbox. Great, check, and you just, because then it also, this is when you lead people without influence, but being able to show up to the meeting, like both physically and intellectually showing up to say, hey, I'm gonna share here's the tracker. Let's just discuss it, right? Where are we at? And that's one thing I wish I'm not great at project management. It's something it's a skill that you have to continue to build, but I did a lot of that at BYU Idaho, but I had like a class of like, hey, how do you manage? Okay, what happens? Like at IBC, I remember halfway through, it's like everyone's fired. It's like now you gotta get like a new CEO, a new CMO, right? Like you gotta shift the thing. And we're all like, shoot. Like now the supply chain guy became the CMO. And it's like, and then the seller became the supply chain guy. And then he's in charge of ordering the product. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. So, it's all these things.
Well, yeah, I think that project management thing across the board, even if you are a business for sure, communications for sure,
anything, nurses,
and like doing scientific research is projects.
Yeah,
so I like that.
So that's one class that like I think I would even, if I were President Meredith, I'd be like, this is required for everybody.
Well, he wants a report when I get back, so I'll let him know. Rodrigo said
I'm close with him. But yeah, that's one thing that I wish I had.
Okay. Oh, that's neat. Okay. And I do have a similar question at the very end that will ask something like that, but I'm glad you said that right now. When it comes to, let's see, are there any qualities, behaviors, or skill gaps that prevent people from being promoted even when they're technically good at their job?
Yeah, people. Like dealing with people. So promoting yourself.
Okay.
Like being able to talk about your accomplishments,
Being able to communicate that correctly.
tracking it. I think having the conversations early and often, like, hey, and I don't know. This is a weird one. It's like everybody wants to be promoted. Everybody wants more money, right?
Yeah.
Or the majority of people. And so it's kind of like, and they say this a lot. When you get to your review, you shouldn't be surprised about what your like your ranking or whatever is.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be surprised if you don't get a promo or if you do get a promo, right? Like that should be something that you're constantly talking about. I had a manager who he said once a month our one-on-ones need to be purely focused on career development.
Yeah.
The other ones will focus on like day-to-day what roadblocks I need to remove for you.
Yeah.
But the other one should be focused on like what's your career development plan. And so I think being able to track it, to know your value, know like what you're doing, how you're adding value. I think being able to see yourself, what impact are you bringing to the whole, and being able to articulate that, and then having people that will back you up. And part of that is like, and I struggle with that. I think a lot of people do, but the ones that don't are the ones that get promoted all the time, and they're the ones that are like,
Yeah.
almost like they're kind of annoying about it, but they're, what do they say, like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, whatever. It's about, but I think it's about, this is what I'm doing. But if you, again, it's another project. Your next project is get promoted.
Right. And it's not just talking about it. Yes, you need to communicate what you've done, but it's also doing what you've
Doing, so you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
But then you got to talk about it, but then you also got to bring others along with you, right? Like to say, oh, hey, you know, I worked with Spencer on this project, and then Spencer, when you talk to my manager, you're like, hey man, Rodrigo, like, totally crushed this role. Like, I want to continue to partner with Rodrigo. And I think that's one skill, I think, in corporate America that goes unnoticed a lot. It's like being good to work with.
All right.
So I would say willing to learn and not settling. Just knowing that there's something better.
Okay.
And I think like you could even probably say they've embraced the gospel.
Yeah.
There's
interesting.
there's progression, right? It's not just here. Yeah. And I think, you know, as a bishop of a Spanish ward in the U.S., where I have a lot of, last week I was talking to somebody, some parents about GPA. They have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
These are parents of kids that are either have graduated high school this like 3 weeks ago, or are about, you know, they're juniors and sophomores. And they have no idea what a GPA is, right? And they've come to this country to give their kids a better life and better future, and they don't understand the system.
Yeah.
And the kids will be like, oh, well, I can graduate and go work here and I'll make $22 an hour, and if I get, after a year, I can get to $25 an hour or whatever, and it looks good, but it's like, yeah, but like, you know how much rent is, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's great if you're living with your parents, but your parents are in an apartment, right? Like, what?
Yeah.
At some point, you gotta like move on, right?
Yeah.
And I think, so I see that in my current opportunity as a bishop, but also like as I see it in of those UU Idaho graduates who've gone on and done well. It's they're willing to learn new things, and they don't settle because they're hungry to do more.
Oh, I like that 100. Okay, I got one last question for you. If you were to give your 17-year-old self advice that wants to be promoted, success, find that job and stuff, what would you tell yourself to develop first, and why?
I think two things that come to mind. One is mentors.
Okay.
Like find mentors. Like for me, my mission president. So when I went on my mission, I heard my mission, like while I was on my mission, I heard my mission president worked for Steve Jobs and had worked for Bill Gates. and I didn't really know. Like I never asked him, to be honest. Like while I was at the mission, I never asked him. But when I came home, I did a semester at BYU, Idaho. Went on my mission, came back. He was the only person in my life when I went back to school that knew me well and had done well for himself, right? And I knew that President Murray had gone to school and he got an MBA. So I went back to Idaho and I'm like, I'm gonna go get my MBA. Like what? I don't know. That's what President Murray did. And he did well, right? And so, and then I've learned more over time of what he did work for Steve Jobs. He was the number 2 guy, and like he was really high up, and then he knows Steve Ballmer, and that's how he landed at Microsoft and worked for Bill Gates. And but to me, at that moment in time, having a mentor that knew the system. So I remember that I think I'm gonna do business. I might do social work. And he would ask me he'd be like, do you really want to do that? And sometimes he would ask me questions to think about it, or sometimes he would just tell me like, yeah, don't do that. Like, but I needed that, but I trusted him because he'd gone through the system. My parents had no idea. Like when I went to college, they're like, wait, we have to pay for rent? Yeah, mom. Yeah. Right? Like just clueless. So I think having a mentor that knows you and kind of can guide you, and whether it's college or whatever you do in life, just having that. And then the other one would be being proactive. Whether it's hungry or just, but like don't. And this is an eternal truth, right? Like don't wait to be acted upon. Like act.
Yeah, be anxious and engaged.
Exactly, and that's scripture. I think BSC 64. That what is it? Don't be tired of doing good things. You're laying the foundation for great work. It means you just got to be consistent and anxiously engaged. And I think those are people those who truly embrace that, they go into the world and they're going to become those oaks, right? Yeah. The other ones are just going to stay like a little tree, and with a little bit of wind, they're going to get knocked over. Right. Because they're not. I like that. And then I think too, like, I don't know, other than those 2 things, just live the gospel. Stay true to the covenants you've made. And a few months ago, I left Microsoft. I was at the startup, and I was done. I was like, I'm gonna leave this company. Yeah. And I go to the temple Wednesday mornings, and I remember leaving. And I looked up and I said, I pay my tithing. I'm trying to magnify my calling. And I was like, I need those windows of heaven to be open about now, because I'm gonna quit my job and I don't have anywhere to go. Like I don't. And I had a job 2 weeks later, and it worked out great, right? And like, but before I did that, I had applied to like 3 places. I wasn't like, okay, I want to open my LinkedIn page and see 7 messages of people that want to hire me, right? I planted seeds, and I nurtured the seeds, and I was like, okay, I need one of these seeds to like really bring fruit now. Like, and it worked out, right? And sometimes timing is different for everybody. Yeah. I have a really good friend who's been looking for a job for like 4 or 5 months, and it's tough. And he's a VP level executive, and so it's hard. But like, I think the Lord knows us, and He'll provide. And if we're doing our part, He always comes through. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. Where are you at right now? What's your job?
So I work at Qualcomm. Okay. Okay. San Diego-based company, but I'm on the computers business, so I sell to Microsoft. So I compete with like Intel and AMD. Okay. And so we're trying to get Surface to make more Surfaces with our chips. Yeah. Okay. So that's cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Cool. This is good stuff.
Well, I hope it's helpful. Anything I can do to help students out. Right.
Yeah, this will.